Have you ever been scammed by such headline as this one here? Or even don't know what does it really stand for? Then you've hit the right address, as it's a Blockrevision channel and we are trying to fight every single stock market myth and obviously get things straightened out. Welcome to another episode of our series and let's begin to Market Outlook. And we are getting to market movers to look through the most important events that may affect assets prices that will bring us some major moves. So let's get into this. And as it's Monday today, we'll discuss over the most debated topics of the entire week, just on the surface to get the snippet of what this week may bring to us. And on Monday we have important data from the US, market manufacturing PMI final. That is a report based on data compiled from monthly replies to questions asked of purchasing and supply executives, and it consists mainly of new orders, production, employment, inventories, supply deliveries. I guess I pointed out all of them. And right now we can find that the expectations of the next gauge as appear to be higher than the previous one, and we are in this surging tendency where after this very high gauges of this latest months, we are climbing higher and higher. And when it comes to 5-year manufacturing PMI, we are at the tops, at the top of the tops. So look at the 10-year. It's just something unprecedented that haven't happened before. So it's interesting to watch how long that this strong may persist. And on Tuesday we have RBI interest rate decision, and we don't really expect this event to bring over any particular revolution, as we expect from the central banks globally to start tapering first instead of changing an interest rates, so they would be irrational. So I don't find this event exactly to be as of highest priority. However, it's also worthful to watch. And on Tuesday we have market manufacturing PMI from Canada, where we can find a lowering tendency right now. So in opposition to what's happening in the US, Canadian PMI is decelerating. So it stems for what's happening to GDP growth, and right now we could find on the previous week that this GDP and also some inflationary aspects of Canadian economy is also getting down. So market manufacturing PMI from Canada is still in this expansion territory where we are over 50 points, but we can see that this one gauge can't really keep up with what's going on in the US. And on Wednesday we have a package of data from US. At first there is a ADP employment change that measures how the hiring market is looking right now, and we can find there is also some expectation to get this metrics to the level of above 700k. Right now it has lowered, slumped on the amount of about 200 points, and right now the expectation is higher. There is also that is also a gauge that is observed by Fed in terms of how the US economy is getting out of this post-pandemic recession. And right after we have market services PMI and also market composite PMI. for US as well. And on Thursday we have a bunch data from the UK's market where Bank of England is trying to make a decision on interest rates, and this is true that BOE is trying to also adopt negative rates as a policy tool. However, operationally, the readiness for this sub-zero territory is not really desirable destination, so we'll just look for rather stable policy, as it should remain at this 0.1%. In terms of what UK's government decision may be, we should take care for how the UK jobs market fares, and also how it's going in vaccine rollout. Before any positive signs of getting out of recession, we shouldn't expect taking their foot off the stimulus pedal. And on Friday we have non-farm payrolls for the US that measures the change in the number of people employed during the prior month, excluding of course those workers in the farming industry. And in terms of market earnings, we are awaiting the most important earnings from Tuesday, that is Alibaba readings. Afterwards on Wednesday we have Roku that right now struggles with getting through this resistance level, so maybe this earnings report may bring its fuel for further growth. And on Thursday we have fast market mover, that is Square. It's also awaiting some good earnings, as it's right now speeding up in price, so it's also worth watching. And on Friday very interesting is DraftKings data. Right now let's get to the economy view, and we are deciding on US debt ceiling level right now after this 2-year suspension time. So US debt is a total amount that federal government is authorized to borrow. In 2019 it was set at $22 trillion. Right now it will adjust to the current level of debt that had risen to 28.5, and right now both parties are putting pressure on Congress to find a solution that will allow the government to keep borrowing. So the raising or suspending the borrowing limit doesn't clearly dictate how much money the government will spend, but right now allows it to pay what has already been approved. So as for next, we can see that the tendency is getting higher. We can surpass this 30 trillion bucks, but it's also not prejudged yet how the outcome of this event may become. And as of here we have a chart of junk bonds that represent bonds for the companies that are in business troubles with a high percentage of bankruptcy. And we can find also that this gauge is of high risk of default. So as we can find that whenever there is a high demand for this asset, and then it brings a lower percentage of a yield, and also it brings us a conclusion that we are in this risk of environment. So it means that this wave of stimulus and inflation fears are pushing investors into high yielding riskier credits. And we are heading towards indexes outlook, and we can find that when talking about the SPX, the second quarter earnings season has been stronger than expected for this index, and nearly 60% of companies that have reported already its earnings for the last period have 80% of them have exceeded both profit estimates and sales. So there is no specific risk for this index to tumble. However, it depends on what will fuel the market as of next. So maybe some market and hiring and employment data may flicker it a little bit, but there is no such threat as of right now. And right now let's get to crypto outlook, and we are looking at the Bitcoin USD, discussing over what may bring a next future. So on Friday we had this breakout over 40k, but doesn't mean we are really ready to get to the, for instance, another area of real volume as of here, signed by this blue bars. We can find that right now we are in this territory where bars are trying to turn up. We have negated this bull candle of Friday, and weekend has turned out to be quite bearish. So as on Monday, I've expected this this move to be continued, and we could really get through this 40k level. On the other hand, it hasn't really happened. So it means we have just hit some traders' stop losses that were set above this 41k level and just turned about to get possibly an ultimate direction of BTC. So we are right now heading back towards this 35k in terms of US dollars, and there is not really much of a probability of getting back to this 42k level. So it's very interesting to watch right now, as we are in this decisive point for Bitcoin, as well as we had a major exchanges outflow during recent days. As we can find here, as of 28th of July, we have a massive outflow that is registered also here on the CryptoQuant site, but we are in this negative funding rates still, so the sentiment of Bitcoin hasn't returned yet. So regardless of what crypto's media headlines are trying to say, there are no obvious signs of returning of crypto bull markets to arena as of right now. There are some expectations of bigger crypto institutional adoption. Germany, for example, right now is allowing institutional funds to hold up to 20% in crypto with fixed investment rules. So there are some green lights in order to where this industry is going. However, there are more expectations of crypto exposure to turn up during next and the next year to come. However, right now there are still some regulatory clouds that are existing above this area of institutional interest. So unless this regulatory framework won't be set, there is no obvious obvious clarification of where this industry may go at this year. There is also some interest from developers side of one of the biggest tech companies globally, that is Square, where Jack Dorsey has also decided to build a crypto wallet that should secure crypto investors, crypto traders from facing the risk of malwares and also some hackers. So we can find that the problem of the cryptocurrency industry is that main reasons for buying those assets is clearly gambling. So if there is no control on the supply, and if everyone could print dollars in the basement, there would be no reason to produce economically. So developers need to cooperate with regulators that are coming to this industry and strictly report how supply of different coins are turning up. And we can find that unless this area won't strictly cooperate together, there won't be any obvious clarity of whether those coins may be adopted by banks or institutional funds. And right now let's get to trade idea section, and we are discussing Solana USDT chart. Solana is a cryptocurrency that is accessible on the Binance or FTX exchanges. So we can find that Solana is an alternative to what Ethereum offers. There is also a smart contract platform that offers DeFi solutions, and there are some claims in the industry that with strengthening of DeFi industry, Solana may gain more interest than even Ethereum with higher transaction output. So that's kind of narration that enlighten the future Solana performance, and we can find that we have formed this 3 months descending triangle that is a bearish formation in terms of price patterns. But we have negated this one, and after forming this bearish structure, we have broken out higher. Right now we are struggling with this 35, 36 USD territory. So we are right at the resistance, but the broken of the break of this bearish formation symbolizes that there is a high probability of getting past other obstacles, such as this possible resistance. And we can find that if we get through this resistance on the VPVR profile indicator, we just will find the gap that should bring us higher, right to this another point of control at the price of 43 US bucks. For this to happen, it needs to Bitcoin USD to stop for a while, to linger at the price at this level as it's right now about 40k, or get slightly higher and break through this 40 to 31k resistance, because what Bitcoin does, altcoins will follow. So otherwise, when Bitcoin will tumble, it will bring Solana with itself. So right now it's very important to watch this area of 36 US bucks. if there will be an attempt of getting through this level, there is a very high chance of getting to this 44 price target. So we can sign. I will be quite cautious and just set the price target of 40k just before this point of control that maybe of struggle to get to. So that's a first target level. If we obviously get through this resistance, otherwise if we want make another high as of another 2 or 3 days, so if we not try to get through this resistance within 3 days, I wouldn't consider this proposition of a trade as of valid. So if you would like to have our trade board to put, there be something like this with a possibility of even buy right now, but with a strict and tight stop loss at the area of 31 US bucks. So with this trade, there is a possibility of get some like something like 26% of gain right now. If you'd like to wait for the confirmation, that would be something like 16% of gain, and we can find that with this setup working out, the risk reward ratio is above 4, so it's very good. So right now this Solana is very worth watching. In the end, let's look at this strong bull candles that brought us here. There are at the about 15%, about 7%, and also about at the another 15% of height. So it brings us to the conclusion that this possible commence of the trend that is reversing that bear price pattern of recent, this bear triangle is quite strong. For funding rates, as I obviously checked this one, Solana is right at the, let's look, right at the neutral position, so it's in the point with a high probability of getting higher. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and don't forget about subscription. See you tomorrow.